In 2022, on average, women are still making just 82 cents for every dollar their male counterparts earn. For women of color, the numbers are even worse. But according to a recent survey by Harvard Business Review Analytics Services, progress is being made and some employees are seeing it. But we still have work to do. Brian K. Reeves, Chief Belonging, Diversity, and Equity Officer at UKG, and Melissa Thomas Hunt, the John Forbes Distinguished Professor of Business Administration at University of Virginia, are joining us live from Austin this morning with some insights. Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning, Desiree.
Yeah, Brian, a very important topic. I want to start off with you. Can you tell us some of the statistics from this recent survey?
Sure. Well, the first point would be that the study certainly confirms the belief that this pay equity topic is significantly complex. And UKG's approach, and we're inspiring others to do it, is an ecosystem of equity. Not only should you be looking at equity of compensation, you should be looking at equity of representation, equity of opportunity, and equity of well-being. And from a statistical perspective, one of the things that jumped out of the study to me is the fact that 74% of executives believe that this topic of pay equity is of moderate to high importance within their companies, but only 49% of them actually have a pay equity plan in place. And from an employee perspective, 71% of employees agree that it's an important topic within their company, but only 41% of those employees feel as though their company has a pay equity plan in place, and 24% of the employees say that their company does not have a pay equity plan in place. And the numbers are lower for people of color.
Yeah. Important statistics to know. And Melissa, this isn't shocking for me to hear as a woman of color, but how do race and gender impact pay negotiations and self-advocacy?
Yeah, what we know is that our ability to be successful in negotiations is about being able to read the landscape, understanding what the normative practices are, what we can ask for, how we can ask for it, who's going to support our requests. And that typically comes through social capital and networks, which we know women and minorities often have less access to. So they can start not having as much information as they need to be successful in those negotiations. We also know from research on women in negotiation that the same behaviors in negotiation from women often engender backlash where it doesn't from men. So we can only imagine the effect for Black women. What I like to do is actually think about what organizations can do in their commitment to pay equity and how they can think about creating opportunities for advancement, creating mentorship and sponsorship opportunities as well.
And speaking of employers taking action, Brian, how is your company helping employers close the pay gap?
Well, first of all, we are trying to inspire other companies to think of this topic as a business imperative. Obviously, your most important asset are your employees, and if they're not engaged and you can't retain them, you won't be successful. That said, last year we formally launched an initiative called Close the Gap, where we're making significant investments in programs and partnerships to help accelerate companies on their journey. Examples being a philanthropic investment and an organization called Reboot Representation, which speaks to equity of opportunity as they are trying to double the number of Black, Latina, and Native American women with computer science degrees by 2025. We also have a significant partnership with the National Women's Soccer League, where we're driving pay equity, where the women on the pitch and the men on the pitch are paid equitably for their great performance. And last but not least, this not only do we have this study, but other educational resources that, again, we're trying to inspire companies to accelerate towards pay equity for all.
Yeah, and truly taking those steps to close the gap. And Melissa, what actions can employers take to achieve pay equity, whose responsibility is pay equity in an organization?
Well, we know that it has to start at the top with CEOs, with executive teams, that they need to make a clear commitment to pay equity and cascade that across the organization. It can often seem daunting because of the complexities, but there are sophisticated tools out there that can help with the analysis. So they need to use them. They then need to put a pay equity plan in place, and then they need to communicate to employees what they've actually done. It's not enough to just do the right thing. You've actually got to tell employees what you've done to increase transparency. And then finally, you've got to hold leaders and managers that have compensation responsibility accountable so that you make sure that the gaps that got closed don't get opened up again.
Yeah, I think this is a great conversation to have just for employees to know what actions can be done to make sure that that gap is being closed when it comes to pay equity, and then for employers to know steps that they can take as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and for more information, you can visit ukg.com/closethegap.